welcome to the last episode of the shooter tutorial. Today we're gonna get a functioning game. To start, create a new sprite and call it health. You can either create hearts for like health, or you can search in the sprites list and click on heart red, and you can change the stroke to black and resize it a bit. It'll work perfectly. Okay. So now you can put it in a couple places. You could put it in the corner. You could also try making it small and having it above the player. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put it in the top left corner of the screen. Okay. I'm gonna set the size 120. And now in events, pull out a when this green flag is clicked, set size to 120, hover block, and let's create a new block, call it player health. Make sure you click run without screen refresh. Let's create a new variable, call it players health, and pull out set players health to, let's say 5 when the green flag is clicked, and then in the forever loop add players health. Okay, now let's go to our position that we want it at, and let's create a clone. Now let's go to motion and let's change X about 40, so that's the amount of times it takes for it to get to its new position. And let's create a new variable, call it players max health. Okay, so now let's set players max health to 5, and let's also set players health to players max health. And then we'll repeat player max health in our players health block. And let's pull out a when start as clone, and we'll wait 0 seconds and delete this clone. So now you see we have our heart showing in the corner. If you notice, we have one extra. So what we need to do is when the green flag is clicked, hide this sprite and then show when I start as a clone. And that should make it so there's a red line. So let's go into enemies and let's change player's health by -1 when we are touching the player. So we'll just need to add a change player health after we change player knockback X and player knockback Y. Alright, let's also add a wait 0.1 seconds, and let's make a new if and say if touching player. I might actually change the wait to 0.05 seconds. And I just noticed something. We need to change brightness by -2 when 1 is less than brightness. Okay. And I think it's looking pretty good. Let's get the health looking better. So we're actually indicating how much health we have. To do this, let's go into the health sprite and let's add an if then. We want to create a new variable, call it letter for this sprite only. And let's set letter to 1 in the beginning of our player's health block. And change letter every time we loop through player's max health. And then let's have the if then. So if letter is greater than player's health, then we want to set brightness to -50. So now if you notice, all the hearts are dark. So what we need to do to fix this is we need to change if to an if else, and set in the else to brightness 50. And now I think it's working pretty good. Let's change the brightness effect to 0 in the else. Let's duplicate our if else function and bring it right underneath set letter to 1, so that way we set our first health. Now it's looking pretty good. But right now it's just an infinite shooter. So we add an end game. End of the game. But before we do this, I would like to address a couple things and add a couple things. And then we'll finish. Okay. So if we go into enemies. Let's add, 0.1 seconds after we show and spawn. Or maybe let's do, so that way we get to see where they're spawning and then wait just a minute. So that way we have a second to get out of the way of the enemies. I think it would also be cool though if we added some enemy knockback. So to do this, let's create a new variable. Let's call it enemy knockback X for this sprite only. Let's create another one, call it enemy knockback Y for this sprite only. Okay. So now let's change enemy knockback X and then enemy knockback Y by knockback X sine of and knockback Y the cosine of the direction. Both of them direction. Now let's multiply it, each of them by -5. Now let's add these after setting brightness in the if touching projectile. And let's also change X and Y by enemy knockback X and enemy knockback Y after the if then statement. And let's set enemy knockback X and Y. I'm going to copy this little thing from the player and let's times it by 0.75 times itself. So now when we shoot, they go back. It makes it kind of satisfying. Okay. I think it's pretty sweet. But we still need the end screen. So let's create a new sprite, call it game over screen. And let's create a gray box that fills the entire screen. And let's then add some text. And let's have it black. And we'll just add it and say game over. And I'm gonna change the outline just a little bit and resize it so it's a little bit bigger. Okay, and then I'm gonna center it and then bring it up, and I'm gonna dim the outline just a little bit. And I'm gonna, in the code, I'm gonna go to X0 and Y0 when this green flag is clicked, and then add a hide. And then when I receive game over, I'm going to have it show and go to front layer and then stop off. In player, I'm going to add an if health is less than 1, then we'll broadcast the game over. And that should do it. So now, if you play it, go around, fight these monstrous enemies. You get hit, you lose health, and you die. That's the game over screen. Yeah, thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe the video, and give me any suggestions for videos down below. We'll see ya.